Al-Qaeda has a nuclear weapons capability. At the same time, though, I am determined to ensure that they're not going to be able to obtain that type of capability. And the best way to do it, as we continue to degrade and destroy Al-Qaeda, is to take away the opportunities they may have to acquire the fissile material, highly enriched uranium or separated plutonium, or the expertise that is required to use that fissile material to create an improvised nuclear explosive device. And we have been very aggressive on this front. We're working very closely with our international partners. We'll continue to do that. But the risk of that eventuality is a factor of the determination of Al-Qaeda, but then the vulnerability of these materials. And that's what this conference today is trying to address, the vulnerabilities that are out there that we need to close down.
Yeah.
Robert, with regard to Ukraine, what's the estimated cost to the United States to help? And are any other...
I don't have an estimate on the financial cost at this point.
Not even a range?
No.
Are any other countries stepping up as well to provide technical and financial
Well, again,
help?
I think that, as Jill mentioned, this is Russian in origin, and I think, obviously, they will play a significant role in helping to secure that as well.
Are we prepared to help other countries that may step forward tomorrow? Or
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, again, the goal is to do all that we can. Again, understanding that our desire is to see this as secure as it possibly can. I think that takes many forms, and our assistance and the assistance of our partners and our allies will certainly be important. Not just this week, but in the coming years, to ensure that the goal that the President has outlined of securing all vulnerable nuclear material over the course of the next 4 years is something that's going to have to be done with a host of countries, which is, quite frankly, why we have so many here. Steve?
Is it possible to say if the vulnerability of the materials has increased since the end of the Cold War? Has it decreased? Is there a danger that it will increase the more countries turn to nuclear power, nuclear generation?
I think one of the concerns is that, by definition, as you have an expansion of nuclear programs, peaceful programs, there is going to be an increase in the nuclear byproducts that come out of those facilities, as well as the expertise that is available to run them. And so with the increasing availability of nuclear programs, or the increasing prevalence of nuclear programs worldwide, this is why we want to make sure that we're able to work with all the countries of the world so they can do their part. But the availability of this material is going to be a factor of how well we're able to plug those gaps, plug those holes, and address the vulnerabilities that are out there. But certainly, nuclear programs have increased over the last several decades.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just to follow up on the previous questions about the timing. Should they get possession of this material, how long will it take to a group like Al-Qaeda to produce an actual weapon? I mean, is there any estimate? Because it seems not a very easy process anyway. We look at Iran and it's taking years. So what is your assessment of that in terms of timing?
Well, I talked before about the various weapons of mass effect, whether it be biological, chemical, radiological, and nuclear. Radiological, a dirty bomb. This is a way that Al-Qaeda could try to carry out a nuclear type event, but it wouldn't produce a yield. It wouldn't be a nuclear blasted. So those materials may be available. Mass effect, well, you can have the psychological effects that are attendant to some type of WMD attack. And so a chemical attack or biological attack, you can have tremendous effect, but the destruction in terms of lives might be limited. A nuclear attack, though, an improvised nuclear device, and that's probably the way they would go as they were able to acquire this fissile material. A lot depends on the material they were able to get, the expertise that they had, but I think they would be damned determined to try to move in that direction. They have already said publicly that if they acquired that type of weapons capability, that they would use it. I don't want to test the proposition of that they would take a certain period of time to create such a weapon. What we want to do is, again, try to focus on denying them the opportunity to use those materials for weapons of mass effect purposes.
Yes, sir.
Mr. side to the civil nuclear energy sector? What gives you the bigger concern? That somebody steals nuclear weapons from the military side worldwide, or rather that they hijack, for example, a transport of highly enriched waste, which is often transported without any guards throughout cities? What's the bigger concern?
Well, we have concerns both on the civilian and military side from the standpoint of facilities as well as transport, as well as the security measures that are put in place at these respective facilities. Al-Qaeda and other groups, including criminal groups, are going to be looking for what avenues present them the best opportunity to acquire these materials. And so and a lot of these criminal gangs and terrorist organizations reside in countries where there are nuclear programs, including some that are a part of nuclear weapons programs. And so what we're trying to do is to make sure that we're able to stay several steps ahead of terrorist groups by working with these countries to make sure that they're able to button down their facilities, but also take the appropriate steps and to institute the protocols that are necessary that will endure over time. This is not just a one-time event here. What we're trying to do is continue this process that's been underway for a number of years that we can truly help to safeguard these materials.
Yes.
A lot of things are transported on a regular basis. What we need to do is to make sure that it's done in the most secure fashion possible. And that's what part of the dialogue that is taking place with other countries, to ensure that as they move materials, they are doing it fully aware of the vulnerabilities and the potential opportunities that terrorists might use to take advantage of that transport.
Yes, sir.
Several countries present here, we don't have nuclear stockpiles, but they are used as might be used as transit points for nuclear traffic, but they lack the capability of systems to detect or intercept any nuclear material traffic.
This is a multilateral setting here where the heads of state and government get together to talk about their responsibilities. There are going to be a series of multilateral fora as well as bilateral opportunities where the discussions will be taking place about what the requirements are in order to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken. Sometimes countries are going to require resources. Sometimes they're going to require some technical support and assistance so that they can, in fact, put in place the procedures that are necessary. So this is going to continue to move forward. We're going to be having these discussions, but certainly the United States is willing to work very closely with other countries throughout the world so that they can take the steps that are going to help protect them, their neighbors, as well as the worldwide community.
Josh? You're going to have to speak up. You're in a different area code from what it looks like.
I understand that the U.S. sells highly enriched uranium to other countries from time to time, and it's considering selling some to France right at the moment. Is that at odds or in tension with your effort to collect it and put it under lock and key?
Yeah, Josh, I'd have to find somebody at NSC that has a better idea of that, but I will check on that at the conclusion of this. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. How many nuclear bombs do you think North Korea has?
You got to speak up. I'm sorry.
How many nuclear bombs do you think North Korea has? And do you think
North Korea?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not in a setting like this going to get into discussing the type of or the nature of that. I would just say that you have seen this administration put into effect with the unanimous vote of the Security Council last year very strict sanctions to impede North Korea's ability to move that type of weapon or those types of materials and other types of materials out of their country through some, again, a very strong sanctions regime. Yes, sir.
Are you thinking about creating a fund to help countries that cannot afford securing the material, that they can assist? Financial fund?
Yeah, well, you may have more on this. I mean, obviously, there are the Nunn-Lugar program, which has been highly successful.